Good morning, guys. Today is lesson 511, which is identifying data collection methods, or as I am now calling it, identifying studies. The aim today is how could we identify and design data collection methods, or studies. So today's do now. A study is conducted to investigate the relationship between owning pets and happiness. 100 subjects are randomly selected, and data on whether or not a pet is owned and a happiness score are provided. What type of study was used? Explain your response. So go on into the Google form, answer your question, and then we'll come back to slide number 3. Alright, so let's review this. So, in this particular instance, this is a prospective observational study. Why is that? Well, there are not, number one, there's not separate groups, right? There's no group getting one treatment or one variable and another group getting the second. Secondly, we are selecting subjects and just asking them questions, like collecting a survey data. We're not changing anything about their lifestyle. We're not altering them. We're not putting them into separate groups. We're not doing anything to their environment. We're just asking them some questions about the topic at hand. Therefore, this is an observational study because we as researchers are not doing anything to the environment or to the subjects. So the two main questions we're going to talk about today, the first one being how could we determine what type of study is being done? The second one we'll get to in another moment. So how can we determine what type of study is being done? Well, like we just saw in the do now, is if the researcher is altering something about a subgroup or an environment, I'm going to add, then it is an experiment, right? If we were to take 100 people, looking back at the do now, assign 50 of them a foster animal and 50 of them live on their own, then compare happiness score, that would be an experiment because now we've changed something about the environment of the half of those people, right? We took 50 people, we gave them a pet, and then asked them about their happiness level. And then, how do we know what type of study is appropriate for the situation? That would be the second question that we want to answer today. Well, with that, an observational study is more likely to reveal like some sort of correlation, or it may, but only an experiment can prove cause and effect, right? If we did the observational study from the do now, we found that the 50 people that had dogs or cats scored higher than on the happiness questions than the people without pets. We could say that there is a correlation, right? There may be a relationship between having a pet and being happier, but only by taking 100 people with no pets and assigning them 50 of them a pet can we really prove that having a pet would actually lead to higher happiness level, which we know it does because think about how cute dogs are. So now, looking at what we're trying to do today, right? For each question that's below, you are going to explain which method you used and or would use to answer that question, then explain why. So you'll go to your Google form, you'll answer that, and then you'll come back here to see responses. Okay, so let's review these responses. So, do taller people make more money? So I would do, it doesn't have to be prospective, it could have been retrospective. In fact, I'm going to change it to retrospective because what you want to do, regardless of which one you did, is you would survey people about their height, number one, and their salary. So you'd ask maybe how tall are you and how much do you make in a month, or how tall are you, what's your paycheck, how tall are you, how much did you make last year, that sort of question. But basically, you don't want to do anything to the environment. You just want to take the results and see if there's a correlation. Now, the second question, do magnets help relieve pain? This is something you want to use an experiment for, or would want to. Now, I'm not saying you can't use an observational study. I'm talking about the best or most appropriate answer, right? So, why would you use an experiment here? Well, you want to check if there is actually a cause and effect, right? We want to see if magnets can really relieve pain. So we need to have one group use magnets to try to relieve pain and another group either use nothing to relieve pain or use some other traditional form of medication to relieve pain, and then you want to compare the pain levels throughout the experiment. After 2 weeks, what is the average pain level for the people using magnets versus the people using nothing or people using Tylenol? All right. So similarly to what you just did for the guided practice, guided work, for the independent work, you're going to do the same thing. There are 3 questions. I want you to pick what is the most appropriate study and then explain why. Tomorrow or Friday rather, I will post the answers to those. All right? Remember, reach out with any questions. Other than that, have a great day.